I'm sure many of you have noticed that the economy right now, at least in North America, isn't all that healthy. There are a lot of things going on that are just really bad juju as far as the spending habits of people. There's a lot of inflation going on, and we're definitely seeing some changes as far as the customer behavior within the comic book market. I'm going to talk more about that, how it's affecting the actual customers and shops on Monday. But today I'm going to talk about one of the publishers, very small publisher, that is having some really strange things happening right now. Is Oni Press about to shut down? Are they getting ready to sell? It appears something is on the horizon because there's definitely some behavior out there regarding San Diego Comic-Con. They're laying a lot of people off, and it just doesn't look good for the future of Oni Press, whether it be they're going to be closing down, they're doing cost-cutting measures, or they're getting ready to be acquired by somebody else. This would be the first time that this happened. I think about 3 years ago, they did merge with Lion Forge. I think at one point they might have owned the Comics Beat. I think Lion Forge did, actually. But now they're their own kind of small publisher. Me personally, I don't really read Oni Press or Lion Forge or any of those comic books out there. I think Gail Simone might still have like a creative position within Lion Forge, or maybe she's like, oh, I don't really know. I don't really keep track of Oni Press, but it is important to keep an eye on some of these smaller publishers just as far as the health of the comic book industry. Let's talk about some of the weird things that are happening and how it could portend bad things for other publishers in the future. 2 days after canceling its San Diego Comic-Con 2022 booth, indie publisher Oni Press has laid off 4 senior staff members. Sales managers Henry Barajas, who joined Oni Press in August 2021, as well as senior editors Jasmine Amiri and Amanda Meadows, both of whom survived a round of layoffs in 2019, have tweeted about being laid off. Additionally, Newsarama has confirmed Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing Alex Segura has been laid off from the company after being hired in May of 2021. These layoffs come 2 weeks after Oni laid off publishers James Lucas Jones and Vice President of Creative and Business Development Charlie Chu. Oni Press has 2 senior figures remaining: Senior Vice President of Games and Operations Steve Ellis and Associate Publisher Michelle Wynn. Laying off essentially 75% of your senior staff, even if it is a small staff, is certainly a reason to take notice of what's going on at Oni Press. And there are a lot of small publishers, and with the impending recession kind of the economy and less money to spend, I think a lot of these publishers that even survived the COVID shutdowns where you had the PPP loans and things like that to help provide some stability, you could probably work with your landlord and stuff like that to kind of work out payment plans and try to keep yourself afloat. Well, we're kind of past all the COVID-19 stuff. I don't think there's any money coming back into the economy as far as the government just giving it out or making special programs at this moment, because inflation is just really high and they can't really be printing money right now. So a lot of publishers that aren't in the best financial shape are likely to have some really detrimental effects by this. I don't know if that's exactly what's happening with Oni Press, but we do know IDW is sitting out there. And they've had a very turbulent last 4 or 5 years as far as their financial situation. It's felt like they were about to close down multiple times. They somehow weathered the storm and were able to get some, I don't know, it feels like angel investors, because they can't really go out into the regular markets to secure new capital to infuse money into the company. And they've been able to weather the storm. But these are kind of some of the first signs that you would expect to see if the financial climate that we're moving into would start having some long-term detrimental effects just as far as the stability and the health of the comic book industry. I'm hoping none of that happens, but laying off that many senior people, that is very bad. Obviously, they did have some layoffs in 2019, but I believe that was really due to the merger of Oni and Lion Forge at the time. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but some of the creators associated with Oni Press are certainly taking notice, and they seem a bit frantic. I'm going to talk about that as well, too. But they haven't only just shut down their San Diego Comic-Con booth. They were supposed to do a couple of panels where they were going to be involved. Those have also been canceled as well, likely some type of cost-cutting measures in hopes of probably somebody acquiring them and basically saving the company. Doesn't look very good at this moment, but they, Oni Press, did go out on Twitter and say that this is all hogwash. There's nothing wrong. They're just kind of transitioning the company. Hours after former employees tweeted about the Oni Press layoffs, the publisher released a statement on Twitter. It reads in part, "With mildly sensationalistic rumors circulating and false information spreading, we'd like to reiterate that recent personnel changes at Oni Lion Forge Publishing Group were made with the sole purpose of evolving the company and brand and positioning it for long-term success." Oni continued, "Within a new framework that is being worked on now, we remain committed to publishing groundbreaking content, embracing pioneering creators, and advancing authentic diversity and inclusion." Obviously, a lot of that is corporate speak, and they certainly are responding to what is a lot of people going out there and speculating about the health of the company. But no matter what you say, you can't say that, oh, this means that they're doing great. That's a pretty severe change as far as the dynamics of your company. Getting rid of 6 of your 8 senior personnel does not spell good things. They could just be reorganizing for a sale, but they also could be trying to tighten the purse strings as they get ready for what is likely to be a very bad financial climate. They did talk about diversity and inclusion at the end of that. That is absolutely by design, because they did take a lot of heat during those layoffs, because they did specifically lay off some of their minority hires and the minority staff that they had within the group. And they decided that those were the people that were most expendable at the time. And there's a good chance with the 6 people that they've laid off within the last week or two that some of them are minority as well. And we should see some pushback. At least one of the creators is absolutely furious about that. But there's no good way to spin this. This is absolutely bad news, as Oni Press creators appear confused and frustrated via Twitter over the status of their projects. This is what writer Jim Zub wrote on Twitter, wondering if the rumored skeleton crew being kept at Oni Press will include people working on the project we were set to announce next week. At this rate, I feel like I'm going to find out via Twitter. 6 hours later, he did add via Twitter, I've been told my current Oni project is secure, though it obviously won't be announced at a San Diego Comic-Con panel as originally planned. Fingers crossed, our team has been working hard. Jim Zub, not really a big superstar in the industry, but he's been around comic books for a very long time. He's probably seen a lot of comings and goings as far as small publishers, and it sounds like he can kind of see the writing on the wall. They're supposed to have a big announcement at San Diego Comic-Con. That is not going to happen. The booth is gone. The panels are gone. I imagine the announcement was going to come via the panel. So you can see why he would be disappointed and frustrated and really have to go out there and speak about this. And a lot of people probably are worried that you're not really going to get a notification if you get a shutdown like this, where all of a sudden they just run out of money, or maybe the people that are running the business just decide to step out really with no notice. You are going to get notified via Twitter. You're going to be the last people to know, because they're just closing up shop and they're not going to be able to honor their contracts and stuff like that. So you could see a lot of worry, frustration on the minds of some of these creators. Another one that spoke out has been far more critical than Jim Zub so far is Black Mage co-creator and artist DJ Kirkland. This is what he tweeted. No emails about next steps regarding all the creators that now no longer have an editor to report to have been sent out. This whole situation is messy at best and shows a lack of integrity to the mission y'all claim to have. Kirkland also noted a similar experience in 2019, writing, "This is not the first time y'all have done this. I literally went through this during the production of Black Mage during the merger. This commitment to diversity and inclusion are mere buzzwords and empty promises at this point." And if you go to DJ Kirkland's Twitter, he's got a lot more stuff to say about Oni Press and the state of comic books, and definitely harbored some bad feelings about the merger and some of the people that were let go at that time. I thought it was very interesting. You can see there's a ton of frustration, a ton of worry. You know, is Oni Press getting ready to shut down? Are they getting ready to be sold? I'm not really sure, but it certainly doesn't look good. Some things are happening within the market. We're seeing some real shifts as we see the economies are really changing. It's not only, North America that is experiencing this. Here in the Philippines, we're definitely experiencing a lot of fallout. The world economy is essentially based on the US dollar, and as it comes and goes, it really affects a lot of people. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this. And Monday, like I said, we're going to talk about how this is affecting more like retailers and the spending habits of customers and whatnot, what to expect moving forward. But this is going to be a tough year, at least the second half of this year, probably going into 2023 as well. Not really sure what the future holds, but what happened with the COVID shutdowns and the way that the industry was able to survive that and really navigate it and come out pretty damn strong out at the end might not be a harbinger of the future for the comic book industry. I think this is going to hit a lot of people very hard, just as far as the spending habits, the amount of money that's available. If you're a retailer and you don't have a lot of capital available, you can't really buy a whole lot of new comic books and play the market and try to determine what's going to be the hot comic book and really invest in that. You're only going to be working on a limited budget. So this could be very interesting. Obviously, this is coming off a record-breaking year in comic books. We kind of broke down the numbers. The North American comic book industry broke $2 billion for the first time ever in 2021. There are some good signs right now, but there's also some very bad signs. Definitely check this out, see what's happening in 2021 as we move forward into the second half of 2022. And I think things are going to get real weird.